Hi everyone, me again. I'm actually about to head back to China in 2 days. As someone who's had a year of experience now, I wanted to share with you the things you should pack from my own perspective, from the perspective of an American foreigner who goes to live in China. Different people might have different ideas of what you should bring to China, what you don't need to bring, what you do need to bring. These are just some of the things that I found to be important. Number one on the list is clothes. Now, especially if you have a pant size for ladies above American size 10, it will be rather difficult to find any kind of pants or skirts over there. Dresses are a little easier and shirts are a little easier, but in general, most Chinese women are very small and petite. And also, especially if you're tall, finding anything long enough for you too might be a difficulty over there. So just in general, well-made quality clothes are more expensive. Now, you can go to Silk Market in Beijing and things like that and get really inexpensive clothes, but they generally are not as well made, and they may not fit correctly, and they may fall apart in the first week you own them. So you can just do that at your own discretion. The other thing, too, to bring in the category of clothes is shoes. Especially ladies, if you're above a size 8, and men, if you just have large feet in general, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to find shoes in China. I'm a size 8, and even sometimes I have to find the biggest size in shoes. Just because Chinese people, their feet are really, really small. My roommate is taller than me, yet her feet are 2 sizes smaller than mine. I don't know. Just Americans have large feet, I guess. I don't know. Number 2 that you should bring is deodorant. It's just a thing in China that people don't generally use deodorant. It's not because they're necessarily smelly, but they don't care as much about BO, and it's just kind of a fact of life. And in general, Chinese people sweat far less than white Americans. I don't know why, but they do. Sometimes you're on a crowded bus in the summer and you're just completely drenched in sweat. You're just crowded on with everybody, and all the Chinese people around you are totally fine, not sweating at all. Number 3 would be an adapter. Many of you are aware China has different shaped power plugs in the wall sockets. It's always good to bring 1 or 2 of these so you can attach it to your computer, attach it to your phone charger, whatever, hair dryer, whatever. You don't tend to need power converters these days when you go abroad because a lot of your appliances will have built-in converters. What I've actually found is that many of the wall sockets in coffee shops and so on, and even in newer houses, newer apartments, do have American-shaped sockets as well as the Chinese ones. So I actually have very rarely had to use this, but just in case, I would still bring one along. See, it's like a little diagonal prong thing. I would actually recommend, if you're going to travel around outside of China too, just getting a set of all the different adapters that exist, because Korea actually uses the same power plug as Europe. So that threw me off a little bit when I stayed in Korea overnight. You would think that, by now everyone would have universalized the plug thing, but I guess not. Number 4 is electronics. Electronics are extremely expensive. You'd think because all the components are actually made in China that it would be cheaper there. But what actually happens for big names like Samsung and iPhone is that these parts get created and put together in China. They get shipped to the US, or to Korea in the case of Samsung, and they get distributed from the US. So the costs of importation are far more expensive. I think my roommate purchased a Samsung Galaxy S4 Note for about $750 US. I think it was 4,500 yuan. Where I purchased a Samsung Galaxy S5 in the same month in the US for $500, or about 3,000 yuan. So if you want a really nice phone when you're over there, I would highly recommend getting an unlocked phone in the US, or unlocking your phone that you already own in the US and bringing it to China, and then just getting a SIM card over there. Likewise, make sure you bring a working computer that you don't think will give out on you in the year you're over there. Actually, I was in China and I needed a new phone, and my brother was coming to visit me. So what I did was I purchased it over Amazon, and he just put it in his luggage then and brought it to me in China. But whatever you do, if you do need to purchase a new phone or something when you're in China, do not purchase it in the US, have it mailed to your parents, and have them mail it to you or a friend or whatever. Because I've heard horror stories, this has happened to multiple people, of them buying the new iPhone 6 in the US and having their parents or friends ship it to China. And when they open the package, everything is in there except the iPhone. Because China has some corruption issues, it is not uncommon for expensive items like that to disappear and be sold on the black market then. So the next item on my list is your VPN. Now, as many of you know, China's internet is extremely restricted. You cannot access Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, anything Google related, so that means Gmail, YouTube, also any pretty much reliable news source. So if you want to be able to stay in touch with your loved ones in the Facebook, via Gmail, whatever you are used to using and want to be able to access those, you're going to need a VPN. What a VPN is it's a remote access that pings your IP address to another IP address, so it makes it look as if you're accessing the internet from a different country. So this allows you to get on to these websites that are restricted in China. However, it is really slow. It's a lot slower than in the US, but it's better than nothing. The VPN I have is called ExpressVPN. It costs about $100 a year for a subscription, but it's the new one I just got, and I've heard it's actually quite good. Recently, there's been a big crackdown in China on, I think as of end of August, beginning of September, it's been a big crackdown on the restrictions of the internet, even more so than before. So I've heard from other foreign friends that even their VPNs are having a lot of trouble working. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to see how this one works when I go back. And the next one would be beauty products or any kind of self-care products that you're used to. I would highly recommend that you bring with you. Things like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, makeup, cologne. I bring my Herbal Essences shampoo with me. I actually had a good friend of mine who lived in China for 2 years, and in the second year, and she just used Chinese shampoo. In the second year she was there, all her hair started to fall out, and she wasn't sure why. She eventually found out it was because of the shampoo, some kind of poison in it, or that was something that was poisoning her hair. So the regulations in China are just not as strict as in the US of what you can and cannot put in products. So particularly dyes and things like that too. If you want to dye your hair, you don't want to do it in China, because often it's like things they use like furniture bleach or polish or whatever, and it's really not good for your hair. Plus, when you're used to a certain way of doing things, it's just nice to have those comforts of home, because culture stress is extremely real in China, and sometimes, especially in little things like that, it can really stress you out more than it's worth. Bring different medicines too, just so you know that you have those at hand. I would bring Pepto-Bismol, because often you do get food poisoning from street food and things like that. Actually, one of the best things that I've discovered are charcoal pills, because charcoal is actually what they use to pump your stomach if you have get it overdosed on meds and things like that. So sometimes if your stomach feels a little funky, just take a charcoal pill and it just like sucks all that nasty gunk right up and you feel fine. The last thing I would recommend is just anything that reminds you of homes. For me, I bring Kiara, my stuffed animal that I've had since I was 7. Sometimes it's also nice to have food products that are difficult to get in China. So I'm bringing Nutella with me. Now, you can get Nutella in China, but it's a lot more expensive than in the US. So I'm bringing this giant thing, and this will hopefully last me a few months, not a few days. Anything mint, actually, they don't do any mint over there. So if you want to bring mint chocolate with you, I'd highly recommend that. So those are just some of the things that I would recommend packing when you go to China. This is not, the most definitive list ever, but for those of you going over for your first time, I hope it helped you, and that you have an idea of what to bring, and that you will have a wonderful year abroad in China. Alright, I will talk to you later, back when I'm in China, which I'll be heading over in 2 days. Long flight to Beijing, and then a little hop, skip, and a jump over to Qingdao. So I will talk to you all later.